iPads, and that verifies their eligibility. Make sure that all these criteria are met. Also, current D1 varsity football players are not permitted to play intramural flag football. Sorry, it's not going to be fair out there. Some teams are going to be very upset. It is recreational flag football, so we're not going to let those varsity athletes play. However, former varsity athletes, they can be 2 full semesters removed. So if they played last fall, they waited the spring, then they're going to wait next fall until they can play again in the spring and play 4-on-4. So just no 2 full semesters removed. Once again, you're not going to have a roster out there with you, but if players bring that to your attention, just say, hey, go see the supervisor. They can look into the eligibility of this person. We'll document it. We'll look at it the next day. But we want to promote fairness out there. We don't want people to be cheating by playing with Division I athletes. Also, former varsity athletes, teams can only play with 2 or more, and they must play in the A-League. And then teams can only play on 1 single-gendered team. So, for example, I had a couple phone calls today saying, hey, why can't I join a men's team? I'm already on a fraternity team for flag football. They can only play on 1 classified men's team, and they can also play on a co-rec team. Lastly, we'll have some unified flag football, and they can play on that team as well. But men's and co-rec is kind of the strict restrictions for now. All right, team composition. How many players on the field? As I mentioned, we have men's fraternity and women's and co-rec. But in men's fraternity and women's, we have 7 players on the field. A minimum of 4 players are required to start and prevent a forfeit. Obviously, that team playing with 4, playing against a team with 7 is going to be severely disadvantaged, but we want that game to happen, so we're going to allow them to play with 4 players. And who knows, they may be very good at flag football, they may be awesome athletes, they may only need 4 players to execute and be a good player, or be a good team. So we have our co-rec teams, men's and women's on the same team. We typically only have 8 of these teams, maybe 12 of these teams. It's not very many. So you may have 1 or 2 of these shifts throughout this season where you get one of these games. But we need to be in the know about the rules and the specifics for that. So in co-rec, teams are going to play with not 7, but 8. So the typical setup is 4 men and 4 women. However, this year we're going to allow 5 men and 3 women. We want that game to happen, or vice versa. 5 women and 3 men. We have the different combinations listed there as well. We'll allow them to play with as little as 5 players to allow that game to happen. So a team of 7 can be 3 men or 4 women, or 4 men and 3 women. A team of 6 can be 3 and 3, or 4 and 2, or vice versa. And a team of 5 can be 3 men and 2 women, or 2 men and 3 women. So that's our setup for co-rec. Basically, any combination is going to work across the board there. If you have any questions, though, about team setup and things like that, talk to your supervisor, and they'll kind of verify that as teams check in too. Equipment. So the uniform. The jersey has to be long enough to be tucked in, okay? This is flag football, where they are wearing a single-piece flag belt that clips in the middle with permanently attached flags at the hips and the tailbone. So when your shirt is untucked and it is hanging over those flags, it's obviously very hard for the defense to be able to pull those flags. So before each play takes place, we're going to remind our team A team, our offensive team, to tuck their shirts in so that way the defense can pull their flags. Or if they want to, they can have their shirt hang 4 inches above the belt line, and that's not an obstruction to the flag belt with their belly button showing. That's perfectly fine if they want to do that. Shorts or pants, as far as below the waist, they wear those shorts or pants, but they cannot have pockets, belt holes, drawstrings, anything that serves as an obstruction to the fingers. So here I am going to grab Jack's flag belt, right? He's got pockets on it. One of my fingers gets stuck in his pocket. Boom, it breaks. So that's the thing. Pockets on the hoodie are going to be fine there, but pockets right here, that's close enough to the flag belt where my finger's going to bust. So that's not going to be allowed. Also, cleats with metal are not allowed. They can wear cleats without metal, but cleats with metal, those are dangerous. That's going to hurt somebody. That's a weapon in some cases. So players aren't going to be allowed to wear those. They can wear tennis shoes, obviously, as well. Our flag belt, mentioned that earlier. It's belted. It's buckled in the middle, just like your normal belt that you wear to class. However, it has 3 flags permanently attached at the hip and at the back of the tailbone. Before the play starts, make sure that that's the case for each player. We don't want to make sure we don't want their flags to be all cockeyed on their hips and turned all off center and stuff. So some optional equipment that players can wear. They can wear gloves. They can wear headgear as it gets colder out there. They may wear a stocking cap or a sweatband. Soft, pliable basketball or wrestling knee pads, mouthpieces, playbooks, QB wristbands, those are fine. Sunglasses without metal, sunglasses that aren't dangerous, those are allowed as well. Illegal equipment, build caps, like my man Adam's wearing. That's not going to be allowed for flag football. We can politely ask him to take it off and go to the sideline. Headgear with knots, like a bandana with a knot on the back. The concern there is that player falls on the ground, their head hits that knot. It's almost like their head hitting a rock, and they get concussed because we can tell them to take it off. So that's not allowed. Exposed jewelry. Jewelry such as stud earrings must be taped down. If they want to wear a necklace, they must wear that necklace inside of their shirt and must not come out, and that must be taped down as well. The supervisors do not provide tape for the taping of jewelry, but just know exposed jewelry must be taped down. There's some rules for that. When in doubt, don't let them wear it. But if it's like stud earrings, they can tape it down if they have tape. Cleats with visible metal, obviously that's not allowed. Any hood which does not remain tucked in to the back of a penny or a shirt. So Jack, for example, again, he's got the hood hanging out. That's not going to be allowed. What's going to happen is an intense play is going to happen, and Adam on defense is going to want to run and reach out and stop Jack and reach and grab that hood and pull him back. Dangerous. So that hood has to be tucked in behind a penny or behind a shirt. So exposed metal clothes, towels attached to players on the waist. A lot of teams, when it's raining out there, they want to wear a towel, but that in essence hangs over the flag belt and obstructs the flag belt, so that's not allowed. Before each game starts, we're going to nip this in the butt right away. We're going to walk, and we're going to check the team's equipment, we're going to check the players' equipment, make sure that it's legal, make sure that we don't have those metal cleats, make sure that jewelry, if they're wearing it, that is taped down, make sure that nothing's obstructing the flag belt. That way our game's ready to go and set up for success. So we checked equipment. We're then going to have a captain's meeting 5 minutes prior to the game start. Okay, and you're going to, if they're not, sometimes you just have to yell captains. You know, captains, captains will come to the center of the field. They'll meet with you. All right. In this captain's meeting, we're going to remind them of the following things: equipment. Hey guys, keep your shirt tucked in. Make sure you're not wearing jewelry. Make sure your teams are properly equipped. Clock. The clock is going to stop in the last 2 minutes of the second and fourth quarter. There you go. Timeouts, 2 timeouts per half. Penalties, hey, avoid flag guarding, run with your ball up here, we'll teach you what that is. Sportsmanship, hey, show respect to your opponents, show respect to us. We want to have a good, fun game out here. We don't want people to be rude to each other. Then we're going to do a coin toss, we're going to do odds and evens, we're going to do some type of rock, paper, scissors. So if I could pull Emily and Pat up over here, these are my captains. We already discussed those talking points. And from there, I typically go, hey, Pat arrived at the captain's meeting first. I'm going to let him pick. I'm going to let him pick odds or evens. So Pat's going to go ahead and pick. Oh, dang it. So Pat picks even. So he's going to get the choice. He can choose offense, defense, or defer his options to the second half. So Pat, what do you choose? Defer. Pat chooses to defer his options to the second half, meaning that Emily's going to choose. So Emily, what do you want to choose? Defense. Are you sure you want to choose defense? So then if she goes on defense, Austin's shaking his head. Because then he'll go on offense in the first half, and then he chooses at the second half, he goes on offense again, right? Right? I'm glad you did that, because that explains it. That's exactly, and teams are going to do that. Teams are definitely going to do that, and us as officials, just to avoid them griping at the second half, we're going to be like, Emily, you want offense? You mean offense, right? So that way Pat gets the ball at the second half, and you go on defense in the second half. Yeah. So that happens a lot, or a lot of times, instead of Pat saying defer, he'll say defense right out the bat. That means Emily's going to get the option to defer, and she'll be like, well, I'll just defer my options to the second half, meaning that there's no option for Pat to go on offense because he already said defense. So we basically, out of that meeting, we want one person to defer, we want one person to say offense, just to set things up smoothly. So if it takes a lot of convincing, then just be like, okay, fine, don't believe me, we'll see what happens at the end of the first half, and I tried. So, cool, thank you guys. That's our captain's meeting. There's going to be a veteran who's also working with you typically, one of our supervisors as well, that's going to help you walk you through that first shift. So, game time. All right, so we're going to dive into some of the rules here, the intramural specific rules. starting with game time. So we're going to do 4 quarters, each 10 minutes in length. Our back judge is going to have a watch. They're going to keep track of this time. It's going to count down. It's going to beep when that 10 minutes stops, so they'll know. They'll be aware of when it stops, and they'll be able to communicate to that to the players. We'll stop the clock, though. It's not going to stop at all. The clock's not going to stop at all until the final 2 minutes of the second and fourth quarter. However, if we have an extended injury, right? If Evan goes down on the field, he's not getting up, he's not in shape, he's cramping up out there, you know, it's the first week, maybe he didn't stretch, we'll let the teams go to their benches. We'll say, hey, Evan, you need some water, is there anything we can do to help? We'll even call the supervisor out there. Supervisors, come on out and help get Evan some ice. He's in bad condition. We'll stop the clock then, and then once Evan's off the play, maybe a sub comes in, we'll then start the clock again and continue play. Or say, for example, there's lightning out there or something like that. We'll just stop the clock and we'll resume the game once the lightning warning has passed. So extended stoppages of play. If we have a protest or a long rules discussion that needs to happen, we'll stop the clock for that as well. Otherwise, games are scheduled in an hour time block. We want to fit them in an hour time block, right, Zach? So that way we get out of there in an hour time block. So that's kind of our goal there. That's why we get games going on time, because there's going to be another group of teams coming to play at 8 o'clock and then at 9 o'clock. Well, 8:15, 9:15, things like that. So, all right, the clock stops in the final 2 minutes of the second and fourth period. Done. Said that enough. There will be a halftime, 5 minutes in length. If the teams are ready to go after 2 minutes, after 3 minutes, they're pumped, they don't want to stop, we can then just let play continue. Each team's going to receive 2 timeouts per half. Do those timeouts roll over to the next half? Justice says no. Does everybody agree? No, they do not roll over. Absolutely. Sorry, that doesn't work. And then timeouts are 1 minute in length. Once again, we're not going to let that timeout draw on and go chat with our buddies and look at what's going on in the other field. We're going to try and keep that game moving and keep that game going. Now, back judge is going to stop the clock for a timeout, but we're not going to, try and time our watch to just count down to 1 minute. Kind of go with your head, what you think. Hey, we're at about 45 seconds now. We're at about 20 seconds now. Maybe warn them at 30 seconds. It's not that exacting, but just know it's about 1 minute length. Same thing with halftime. We then get into overtime. Each team will have 4 downs to score from the 10-yard line. More rules on that to come. So how much is a touchdown worth? Zach?
6.
6 points. All right. Touchdown is worth 6 points. That's our signal right there. In order for a touchdown to be scored, a player in possession of the ball must touch or extend the ball across the goal line. So the nose of the ball touching the goal line is shown in our picture here. Or if a player on offense catches the ball into the end zone, that's allowed as well for a touchdown to be scored. Following our touchdown, we're going to talk to the offensive captain and say, hey, Pat, would you like to go for 1 point, 2 point, or 3 points? Pat's aggressive. He's going to go for 3 points. Where's the 3 points from? The 20-yard line. So they're going to go all the way back there. He's brave. Tyree, yeah.
On a pass, how many feet do that have inbound? 1 or 2?
Just one, yeah. Great question. This isn't the NFL. It's just 1 foot like college. Yeah, and that has to be the first point of contact. If they simultaneously, straddling the sideline, come in bounds, use your best judgment. In that case, I'd rule it in. But yeah, 1 foot. Good question. Safety. It is a safety. This is our signal right here. When a runner crosses his or her own goal line and it becomes dead in his or her team's possession. So say this is our line of scrimmage right here. And let's say Isaiah's marking my goal line right here, right? I get the ball, it's snapped to me, I'm scrambling back, I'm now in my own end zone, and Emily then pulls my flags. What do we have? Safety, boom, yeah, simple enough, simple enough. We also have, we have some terminology here. We have Team A, Team B, Team A's offense, Team B's defense, just to clarify that, if there's any confusion. All right, so let's say Ethan's out there, he's reffing a game, and it is getting blown out, it is getting nasty. Pat's team is just getting destroyed by Emily's team. Emily's just, and he's like, man, we got to stop Pat from being so embarrassed. This is not cool. He's never going to want to play again. Well, we have a rule help you out with that. It's a mercy rule, slaughter rule, some people call it, but it's at 19 points at the final 2 minutes of the second half. So when a team is ahead, Emily's team is ahead by 19 or more points, once we reach that 2 minute mark, once our back judge is like, 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, and we're like, oh man, Emily's team's up by 19 points. You know, we'll just say ball game, game's over, you get an extra 2 minutes to go get a drink of water and get your next game going. So if you're within 2 minutes, if say it's like 1:30, and let's just say that Emily's team does meet that deficit, then the mercy rule still does apply underneath that 2 minutes anytime we meet that deficit. So we have an intense play here that I'm going to refrain from sharing just to not scare people. Yeah, Ryan.
So like, let's say team A scores, and with that touchdown they're up by 19. Does the other team get like one more chance back on the field, or is it just over?
If they're at the 2 minute mark, then it's over. Right. Yeah, that's a good question. Does the other team who's behind get a rebuttal opportunity? No, too bad you didn't play defense well enough. Sorry, Pat. Yeah.
So, does the clock stop for scoring?
The clock does not stop for scoring unless we're within the 2 minutes, and we'll get into those intricacies in a little bit. Because that's a good point. Emily's team scores on Pat's team, right? And the game's almost over, and there's 30 seconds left. We're gonna stop the clock in that 2 minutes, so Pat's team gets the opportunity to score. But outside of the 2 minutes of the second quarter and fourth quarter, it's just gonna run throughout. So yeah, unlike college or NFL or high school where it stops every play, it's not gonna do that until the final 2 minutes of the second and fourth quarters. So we'll get into how that'll stop moving forward.
Yeah, question, man.
Yes, yep.
Are we keeping track of scoring?
Yes, yep. So in your official's bag, you're gonna have a scorecard, and we're gonna keep track of score after a score takes place. We're gonna write that score down, and we'll communicate that score to the team. So when your shift starts, you're gonna show up, you're gonna check in with the supervisor, you're gonna help set up your field that you're assigned to, and you're gonna grab your bag of officials' equipment right here. It's gonna have our pucks in there. It's gonna have penalty flags in here, one for each official. You can kind of pass those around if you like. There's no face mask. I know, that's what I call them on Friday nights. It's gonna have a watch for our back judge. It's gonna have a handy dandy scorecard. So the cool thing about this, really breaks it in half. You have your team A, team B, you can write the color in. But on the back, right, Mike's made it really easy for us. You can go ahead and look at what the foul was, and Ray's gonna talk about this, but we can look at what the yardage is that we're supposed to walk off for that foul. Two fouls basically, one's 5 yards, one's 10 yards, but if you ever get confused, you can just be like, oh, it's pass interference, how many yards is that? Boom, right there, that's all the information we need to know. So, just to make it easy on you guys. Co-rec, I talked about that. These are our legal combinations right there. They can play with as little as 5 players. So a game can start, and that's our combination, male and female. So for co-rec, there's some really interesting rules to involve women in the game, okay? They don't want me and Jack to get out there and just pass the ball back and forth to each other and try and win it on our own because we think we're awesome and not let Hannah get the ball ever. So the rule here is that there's an open and closed situation where to start the game, we're open. I'm the quarterback, meaning I can throw the ball to another male down the field. That's allowed. Once we have that first male-to-male completion, then I have to involve a female. So the play becomes closed, and I have to throw the ball to Hannah to reopen the play. So say that's first down. I then snap the ball, I try to throw to Hannah, I'm a terrible quarterback. Second down, Hannah doesn't get it. Third down, I try to throw the ball, I throw to Hannah. Hannah tries to catch it, she doesn't catch it, sorry Hannah. Third down, she doesn't catch it. Play is still closed because we haven't had that female completion. Fourth down, Hannah, she catches it, yes, the play's open, and she gets a first down for our team, so awesome. The play then becomes reopened where I can throw the ball back to Jack. So in that story there, we have 3 criteria that's going to open the play. We need a legal forward pass by me, so behind the line of scrimmage, going forward, a female involved, and the female can throw the pass as well. And then finally, the play has to end in positive yards. So the play just ends in positive yards. 0 yards is a positive if for some reason it's just the line of scrimmage.
Wouldn't an incomplete pass still be 0 yards?
No, because it would be 0 yards based on, yeah, your statement there, but it didn't meet these other criteria where a female caught the ball for a male to female completion. So look at this. So also, to open a play, and I'm going to answer questions here in a minute. To open a play, it doesn't necessarily have to be a male to female. It can be a female to female. And you'll notice in these co-rec games, your teams that are good are going to have a female quarterback that can easily open up the play and throw the ball. So, all right, questions? Yes.
So if it's closed,
Mhm.
can the defense like double coverage the girl then and like not even cover the guys?
Yes. Have you played before?
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
I have, but like, so
Yeah.
like the other guys just stand there.
Right, right. That's exactly what happens. Is the play is closed. I'm a male quarterback. Everybody's gonna say, "Hey, cover Hannah, cover Carolyn, cover all of our girls." We'll double cover them, and I'm just like, "Well, shoot." And in co-rec, a male cannot run the ball across the line of scrimmage. So it's all about strategy. You should form a team, and you probably would. You would. So yeah, Evan.
So, like, if you hand it off to a female, that's not opening.
No, because it wasn't a pass. Yeah, good question. It's fun, and you may be confused in some weird situations. It's really interesting to, yeah, Justice.
So, female passing to a male would still be good, right?
Absolutely, that would open it up. Yeah, Brendan.
So if a male like hands it off to a male, is the next play still closed? Or does it have to be a pass?
The next play would be closed, yes, if a male hands it off to a male. So another thing is that a male cannot advance the ball across the line of scrimmage. Here's our line of scrimmage. Regardless of if the play is open or closed, I hand the ball off to Jack, and Jack runs across the line of scrimmage. That's going to be a 10-yard penalty right there for a legal male advancement, right? It's not allowed. I think it's 10 yards. See, I got to look here.
The only instance
That's
where
5 yards, see?
the only instance where a male can run through the line is if a female quarterback throws it, or any quarterback throws it to the male who's behind the line of scrimmage. They can then run it through the line of scrimmage.
Right.
As a pass.
Right.
So like a bubble.
That's
Like a
it,
bubble,
sir.
yeah. So. Yes,
So can a female like run through the line of scrimmage?
absolutely, yeah, female can run through the line of scrimmage as many times as she wants.
Wait, even if it's open, the male can't run through?
Yeah. Yeah, not without a pass involved. So, say this is my line of scrimmage again. If I get the ball, I throw it to Hannah, who's behind the line of scrimmage. It's a legal forward pass, she catches it, runs across the line of scrimmage, her flags are pulled right here. What does that do to the play? It's open, right? Yep, legal forward pass, female involved, positive yard. So, you guys are experts on this. Don't get hung up on it. Like I said, we typically only have 12 correct teams, but you're going to be prepared when you get that 1 or 2 games throughout the season. All right, I'm going to pass it off to Peyton. He's going to talk about our positioning. So we know what's happening in this diagram at the end too.
Alright, so the referee position will mainly be done by either a supervisor or veteran referee. Your initial positioning is going to be 7 yards back and wide of the deepest offensive player, which is generally your quarterback. Your primary area of coverage of what you're going to be watching is behind the line of scrimmage and closest to your sideline. You're responsible for counting the offensive pre-snaps, so there's no delay of game. You're mainly watching the quarterback to make sure he's not fouled, like roughing the passer or illegal contact. Your secondary responsibility is everything in the backfield after the pass or the run. Your line judge. So your initial positioning is going to be right on the line of scrimmage. You're going to watch for stuff like encroachment and false starts. Your primary area of coverage is going to be up to 5 yards to the closest sideline. You're responsible for the initial rush and spotting at the end of the play. So you're going to follow with. So if there's a pass deep, you'll run up. And then when it's called dead, you'll come in, you'll put your hand up so the referee knows where to stop and put the next play. Yeah, you'll help the players line up before the snap. So if somebody's over the line of scrimmage, you'll yell, "Hey, black, back up," or "Yellow, back up," depending on their team color. So your back judge. These are the people checking like the clock and the score. You're gonna be 17 yards back from the defense. There's gonna be hash marks on the field that you'll see when we go out there. That's where you'll be lined up. You're gonna be on the opposite side of the line judge, the same side as the referee. Your primary area coverage is going to be the sideline opposite of the line. You're going to be watching like deep passes and stuff like that. You're responsible for everything deep. You're going to stay within the hash during your live plays. You're going to move to the side to help with dead balls. You're going to be communicating the time remaining in the quarter. Most of the time, teams will run up to you and ask what the time is, and you'll just tell them what it is. During the 2-minute mark, you're going to always yell out the time after every play. So a play dead, you'll yell minute 45 left, or minute 30 left, whatever it may be. On touchdowns, as it shows right here, you'll go up, you'll check the flags, you'll rip them off. If they don't come off, you'll throw the flag, but you'll learn more about that later. So here's a diagram to show you what we're talking about. Here's the line of scrimmage right here. So line judge will line up right on it. Referee will be way behind, 7 feet, 7 back. Yeah, and then back judge will be way back here in the defense. So you're going to form a triangle to box in the two teams. So, and then this is Rick, correct?
Oh, it's me.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be same side or opposite side of the ref?
For back judge?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be on the same side as the right. Opposite side of the right.
Okay.
You'll always
Here
be-
it says opposite.
You'll always be on the opposite side of the line judge. Always. There's never a situation where you're on the same side.
Mhm. Yeah.
So like if there's a play and it ends up on your hash that you're supposed to be on, what do you move to? It's like if the ball's spotted on the hash you're supposed to be standing on, and you're the line judge, do you just scoot out like the sideline?
As a line judge, you'll be positioned on the sideline when you.
Oh, anyways?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's in-
So like if the play
Every time.
happens on the opposite side of the field, you'll stay on your side, but you'll still mark where it is, and then you'll just go back to your side of the line. Is there any other questions?
Is the line judge responsible for spotting the ball,
Yes, so,
setting it down?
Yeah,
and then
so-
running back, or does the ref help us spot?
So in flag football, we don't spot the ball necessarily. We use these orange and yellow cones to mark our lines of scrimmage, our offensive and defensive. The orange cone is the offensive line of scrimmage, both orange. About a yard after that is our defensive line of scrimmage, and between those two things are our neutral zone. It's a little different from actual
And we
football.
keep
but-
those on the sideline of the line judge?
Nope, you can
the
wear-
referee will move those around, so, yeah, so if this is the play, you'll have this right here, and then this right here. So then when the play's done, you'll pick them up, make sure everything's done, no flags or anything. He'll pick them up and bring them to where the ball was last, like, caught, the flags were ripped. He'll place them down, and then same thing, just run it back. The referee will handle that, you don't have to
The
worry about
referee
this.
lines up with the line judge and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah, so right where the line judge called the ball, where it's dead, then you'll sit down, there's a new line of scrimmage, and then where the defense will follow. So,
I am going to talk about penalties and fouls in the sport of flag football. First of all, we have to get two definitions down. Difference between a live ball and a dead ball. Live ball simply means the ball is live. Dead ball means the ball is dead. When the ball is live, it's during a play. The ball has been legally snapped after the ready for play signal. And all ready for play signal is the referee raising his hand, giving his chopping in the clock and blowing his whistle. That will start the 25-second clock. And after that 25 seconds is up, if the ball has not been snapped, it's a delay game penalty. Once that ball has been legally snapped after the ready for play whistle, the down is in progress, the play is in progress, and the ball will continue to be live until something makes the ball dead. Ways the ball can be dead: somebody runs out of bounds with the ball, somebody scores with the ball, somebody grabs their flag belt, one of the defenders grabs the flag belt of the offensive runner. Fumble happens, can't have fumbles in this game. As soon as the ball hits the ground, it's automatically dead except for punts. But normally if you pitch the ball back or it slips out of your hand, once it hits the ground, it's automatically dead. Dead ball penalty. So when the ball is not live, when we're in a dead ball penalty, when the play is not going on, we have a couple different penalties we can have. And we remember these penalties by the acronym FIELD, F-I-E-L-D. First penalty is a false start. by false start, it's the same sort of thing in NFL and NCAA football. If the offensive player simulates the beginning of a play by moving, by finishing, by doing something like that, that simulates the beginning of a play, it's a false start penalty. And then the signal for a false start penalty would just be to rolling it out like that. A lot of these procedural penalties are just a legal procedure, rolling it out. And you don't necessarily have to know that, but the referee will give that signal. If you see a false start, blow your whistle. Play's automatically dead. Play's already dead anyway. Blow your whistle. Let the referee know what the penalty is. In this case, it's a false start, and then we'll move the pucks in accordance. The I is for a legal snap. So the snapper, in addition to all other players, can't flinch either. He can't do like a hesitant snap where he doesn't release the ball. He has to do a nice fluid snap. When the center is up there, ready to snap the ball, he can't have any of his legs on the ground, any of his knees on the ground. He can have the ball on the orange puck if he'd like to. Let's just say this was the ground here. He can have that ball on the orange puck if he likes to. Usually we have the players somewhere near the puck though, not maybe within about a yard of the puck where they snapped from. They can't be past the puck in the neutral zone. This area, if this is our offensive side, this is our defensive side, this area is our neutral zone. If any player is lined up in this neutral zone, offense or defense, it's encroachment, which is our E. Encroachment is just that to either the offense or the defense. With encroachment, usually how I like to do it is, if a player is currently lined up in the neutral zone like this, I tell the player, or I tell the athlete to back up. If he doesn't listen to me and stays in the neutral zone, when they snap the ball, I will signal the play dead and we'll do a penalty for encroachment. On the other hand, if I'm standing here and they do they say hut, but they don't actually hut the ball, and I jump, that's going to be an immediate penalty because we managed to get the offense managed to get the defense to jump, and by definition that's encroachment. But if they're lined up in the neutral zone, maybe they don't know it yet, just try to help that out and just tell them to move back. Leaving on the field on the wrong side. This will very rarely happen, but it might happen. Let's say that there are 8 people on the, let's just say there's too many people on the offensive side of the ball when they are breaking the huddle, and then they realize this. So one of the players from the offense sprints to the other side of the field, try to get off the field before the ball snapped. That would be okay, except if it had to be to the other side. It might get it might confuse the defense if they see the offensive member running to the opposite side. The cornerbacks might be sprinting over, looking over that guy, wanting to cover him because they're thinking, oh, there's a play about to go on. It's just a strategic sort of thing for the offense to do that. We don't want that. It's a bad situation. Legal, penalize it. Again, just the same sort of thing. When in doubt, just roll it out. Delay a game at 25-second play clock. If that expires, it's going to be a delay game. Again, it's just a dead ball penalty.